Hi everyone, it's Jen. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I wanted to come on and share with you some projects I made for KSCraft, and I made these with some of the dies from the September release. This release is just one of my favorites ever. Every die is better than the next. I've been having so much fun, so I hope I inspire you with some of the projects that I show you. I'll show you all of the dies. I'll link them down below in the AliExpress shop, and I'll take some measurements. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment and I'd be happy to get back to you. All right, so the first, well, they're all cards that I made today. Just wanted to let you know ahead of time. And the first card I made, I used two of the new die sets. This one on top here, this one's called the Pumpkin Pie Shaker. But you can use, or you can make it into any kind of pie slice. And I didn't make a pumpkin pie. I'll show you what I made. But it's a really cute size. This is the background die. This is the like top of that, the layering die. So you could use this to make a shaker if you want, which I did. There is this piece here, which is the layering piece for the top crust. And then there are two pieces of whipped cream. Well, like this one is more detailed, so that would go on top. And then this die set here is called the Loopy Swirl frame. So it comes with three different Loopy swirls. That's a medium size. I think I used the medium size. Yeah, there's a large one here, and then there's a small one. So it cuts out the frame of the loopy swirls. So if you want to, you could just use the loops, or you can you could cut this out twice out of one color and then the other, and then just piece them together, which is what I did. I will show you. All right, so I made a tiny little card that I think just came out really, really cute. And this is it. So I made mine into like a strawberry kind of, maybe lemon kind of theme, but mostly strawberry. So I used some paper from Rosie Studio. I think it's called like Hello Sunshine, something like that. It came out a couple years back. And I used that paper in the background, and that kind of inspired the color palette for the rest of the card. So for the pumpkin pie slice, I use my almond cream basil paper, which I use all the time for my baked goods. I edged it with some Vintage Photo Distress Oxide. I love the stitch detail. There's some embossing, if you can see there too, on the crust. And then to make the shaker, I cut the frame out of some foam board from Walmart, and out of the almond cream paper too. And then I used the background piece to cut the acetate as well. And then I just did a little layering piece with some pink and white gingham paper that I have. For the whipped cream, I used that white dot embossed paper that we would get at Joann's. And I had this word cutie. I forget what stamp set that came from. I've had it in my stash for a while, but I wanted it to look like cutie pie. It didn't have the word pie, but I figure you kind of get the gist with the slice of pie. And I put one of these little clay shaker bits that I added inside. I put it on top of the pie too. So let me measure this, and I'll measure that swirl behind it. Okay, so this one is about a little bit over 2 3/4 from side to side. And then top to bottom, it is just about less than 2 inches, almost 2 inches. So isn't that cute? It's just so cute and tiny, and pumpkin pie, I guess because it comes out this time of year, but obviously use it for anything you want. So the swirls, like I said, the Loopy swirl frame, I use the middle size. So that one measures, it's about, let's say, about 3 3/4 inches approximately by 2 7/8. So I cut it out of this paper, this yellow paper that has little white hearts on it that I print out from Etsy, and then just some plain white paper too for the swirls. And you just piece them together and it looks like that. And then I had this rectangle in my stash too, and I just thought, I'm going to leave it this size, my little card that I made, because it's just, everything's kind of mini on it, so why not keep it a mini card? So this turned out to be about 4 1/4 inches by not even 3 inches. So that's my card. And the inside, I just used another die in my stash and some pretty floral paper from Lawn Fawn. And yeah, I think that'll be good for any occasion. So that's my first project. And yeah, I hope you like it. I had a lot of fun with that. This one, speaking of a lot of fun, I had a lot of fun with this one. This is a kitchen jar album, or a kitchen jar mini album. I made mine into a card, like I mentioned. So it's great because you can make this into like any kind of jar that you want to. I made mine into kind of like a cookie jar. So it comes with this outside piece with the knob on the top. then a layering piece, and they're all stitched. There's a layering piece for the lid as well, so you can change up the paper. And then, well, this is, I didn't use this, but you can use this on the side if you want for the spine, if you want to make it into a mini album. You could make it into a box if you want to do that. Use this for the sides. Make a, would that fit on the bottom too? Let me see. I didn't try it yet, but I think that would fit on the bottom perfectly. So you could use the rectangle for that, you know, cut one out for the back too and make it into like a little box. And then this is a label with the layering piece there too. And then these are like stripes that you could put on your canister too, like up here and up here if you wanted to do that. I used this part. I don't think I didn't use the scallop part, but I use this in another project that I'll show you. All right, so let me show you my cute little Christmas card. So this is how it came out. And I used some stamps from Anna White, so you could check her out on Etsy. She is Sweet Miss Daisy Design. She just is a brilliant designer and creator, and everything she makes is top quality too. So that's why I use her stamps here. So I stamped it on some white paper, cut it out with the middle die here, or the layering die, and colored with some alcohol markers, and I used some silver gel pen to give it some accents or highlights as well, a little bit of white gel pen too. And then the rest of the papers I used, I think it was, a Simple Stories collection. And then I did the same thing for the stripes. And then I used, these are some Doodlebug clay bits on the top. I just want to add a little decoration up at the knob there. So this measures, this album, about 5, let's see, maybe a little higher, about 5 3/8 top to bottom. And then side to side, it is 3 and almost, well, a little bit over 3 3/4. So cute, right? I think it looks like a cookie jar like this. And on the inside, I had this sentiment in my stash too. I cut a layering piece out of the layering die, and then I just added a little gingerbread guy peeking out the side too. So yeah, isn't that a cute card? I'm just thrilled with that. I love how it came out. All right, and I have one more to share with you too, and I use this new die set, which is the cookie cutter. And this cookie cutter die set is amazing. It comes with the like uneven looking rolled out dough. And then cookie cutters, well, these are the cookie cutters. There's a candy cane, like an old-fashioned ornament, and a gingerbread man. And then these, they look like cut out cookies. So there's a gingerbread man, the ornament, and the candy cane to go back to the cookie cutters. And my kitten Millie might be jumping up soon. We might see. Okay, so you can put these on top of your die cut here, like this, and run it through your die cutting machine, and it'll cut that out to look like you had, used your cookie cutter on the dough. And then you can put this on your card or whatever you're making to look like a cookie. So I'll show you how that looks. I did make that. You coming up? She jumped on my chair. She might jump on the table. So this is my card. Hi, baby. Oh, this is Millie. Hi, Millie. You gotta say hi to everybody. Oh, she's such a cute little cat, you guys. She's been, she was out of quarantine on Friday. Hi, baby. So she met Gus and Holly. Okay, we're having a little sidebar here. And, they're doing okay. They hissed a little bit at the beginning. Now they just like sniff each other without hissing. So I'm hopeful, they'll get along and stuff. So she's, the vet said probably about 5 months old. Hi, sweet girl. Just judging by like her teeth and stuff. She's purring on my tripod. Hi, baby girl. So, we don't know her story or anything. She just literally, well, what happened was my daughter and her boyfriend were home, and they got this like big knock at the door. And they weren't going to answer it, but then they heard somebody saying, hey, come here, kitty, kitty. So they opened the door, and it was like a bunch of kids, like 10-year-old boys. And they're like, is this your kitten? We just saw it, walking around, and it ran up to your house. And they said, no, that's not our kitten, but we'll take her. So yeah, so they took her in, and she was very sweet to begin with, but she, was underweight, and she had fleas and parasites. So she's doing fine now, and she's happy here in our house. So I'm glad you got to meet her. So anyway, back to the card. This is my card that I made, and I did use my almond cream paper again for the dough and for the gingerbread cutout. I just took this die, like I mentioned, and put it over there, and then I decorated the die cut to make it look like a cookie with a stamp of the face, a heart stamp on his belly. It did some gel pen accents and some other accents with, I used my frosted lace stickles, which is just plain white, which I really recommend to use this for baked goods. And then for the cookie cutter itself, I used some just like silver paper, which really makes it look authentic. I did cut out the other ones too, and I actually almost thought these were my dies when they were just sitting on my table. They just really look so metallic, right? So that's the candy cane and the ornament. So I just haven't gotten to use them yet. And then I had this die or this stamp in my stash, but I did use this die that I told you about before from the kitchen jar album. I used that to make a little banner here. And then for the cutting board, I used all these papers were from Cookies for Kringle from, what's that, Fancy Pants, I think. So I made it just look like a little cutting board, or or a baking board. So I just cut out a rectangle and rounded the corners and popped it up on some foam tape, and I think it does kind of look like that. And I glued some little clay bits all around, and yeah, it's a really cute card, I think. And on the inside, I have this stamp also from Anna, and it says, "May the joy of gingerbread bring a smile to your face and comfort to your soul this Christmas." So let me take some measurements here. When you cut out the gingerbread guy, I can't put my roller right on it because I think it's still wet from the stickles, but it is approximately not even 2.5 inches. And then side to side, it is, let's say, 1 3/4. And then the dough itself is about 3 1/4, give or take, by 2 3/4. And then the cookie cutter, it's approximately the same as the gingerbread guy. Let's see, I could put my ruler down there. About 2.5 by almost 2 inches. So I think this came out cute too. So these are all of my projects for today. I just love making cards. I love sending out cards. I love having them on hand, so when I'm ready to send out a card, I don't have to, sit down and make one, and because lots of times you're in a rush when you need a card. So I have these all done. So let me know what you think. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. I will link all of the dies that I used down below. And thank you for watching. I'm glad Millie got to say hi, and I will talk to you guys soon in my next video. Until then, I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.